Want some, get some. How about those friggin' Pirates?
Yes, I am a pirate.
You have to go with the Pirates because, of course, they have cannons and everything.
It's a pirate's life for me.
Be proud of who you are and what you are. You're Pirates.
It is a first down. Pirates.
Because when you're at East Carolina, you go for it every time. Or you don't coach at East Carolina, you don't come to East Carolina, you don't play at East Carolina with a weak heart. Write it.
I think I've ever been in a building as loud as that was. It was deafening in there.
We will get Omaha. I can promise you that.
Painted purple all night long in Eastern North Carolina.
You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.
Yeah. My heart is purple and gold. I'm a pirate down to my soul. And I don't back down, not at all. Find out when the cannons explode.
All right, welcome into the Pirate Football Playback as the Pirates get a big win. And that's why it's always great here on a Sunday night when we can talk about good news for the most part. 30-20 big Pirate win. And with us, ladies and gentlemen, Kyle from the Grange Barber. How are you, man?
All right, Dave. Yeah, no, it wasn't pretty, but as I said on the Sports Objective, this is the Sports Objective.
Yep.
As I said on the fifth quarter last night, she wasn't pretty, but she felt good. It was good to win by 10. Defense played lights out outside of that one busted run on the 4th and 1 for the touchdown, and then the fourth. Outside of that, and some big plays we gave up in the first half, but. The fourth quarter after that touchdown run, the defense was unbelievable, particularly with repeated 3-and-outs by the offense, which really just fell flat on its face after we gave up that run. You could see them start to panic, where the defense did not flinch. And good job by special teams.
Yes.
Noah made all 3 of his field goals.
Conrad is maybe hurt.
He may be hurt, but he may be wildly pipped also. No disrespect, but I hear Conrad's got a bigger leg, so maybe on long field goals you put him in. But in terms of an accuracy standpoint, this kid, and a pressure kick, he had one kick, when the game was still really in doubt. That was a big kick, and then he the kick at the end of the game was a big kick. It was a chip shot, but we've missed chip shots, and that iced the game. That put it away.
That made it a 10-point game.
Yeah, there was nothing they could do. There was 15 seconds left or whatever it was. You're not going to score 10 points in 15 seconds. So,
oh my God, if that happened, this place would be. It
was impossible. So that put the game away. So hats off to him. But there's a lot of positives. There's a lot of negatives, and I'm getting everything out here at the beginning. Then I'm going to throw it over to Matt. But another thing, we got down by 10 early in that game, and played from behind.
Yeah,
and interesting. It's interesting we didn't panic. We actually panicked. At least we did on offense when we gave up that one big play on defense. We panicked on offense after that, and so again for Garcia, who is supposed to be calm, cool, and collected, always same even keel. He can't panic like he did in the fourth after we gave up that touchdown, and neither can Baker calling plays. Matt, what you got?
What's up, guys? Certainly a lot to talk about tonight. It's definitely good to get a win. It's absolutely good to get a win, especially in Dowdy-Ficklin, where the FBS wins have eluded Mike Houston and this team for a few years now. So first of all, I'm happy to get a win. Certainly better coming on this show at 3-2 than 2-3. I'm happy for the fans that went out of their way to go to that game yesterday. I'm happy for the team. I'll say this though, I certainly, our OC guys talked a lot this week about the team needs to have more of a killer instinct. The team needs to learn how to finish games. I would have liked to see some killer instinct yesterday from our offensive coordinator, who I thought curled up into a little bit of a shell in the fourth quarter, and really didn't show any of that. So kudos to the defense for kind of keeping us in that game with a chance to win. But in terms of the fourth quarter coaching, guys, very, very disappointed.
And as we bring Bubba Rosenbaum, before we forget, and Bubba's in the western part of the state, I just want to say that our hearts, our thoughts, our prayers, we're thinking about doing something special for the western part of the state in eastern Tennessee, because and Western Virginia, we have Georgia, Florida, but
Yeah,
Hurricane
but I
Lee,
want to focus. I want to focus on Western North Carolina and the people of the mountains of North Carolina, because, as I said on on Facebook and a few places I posted it, the people that are most like the people that grew up in the country in Eastern North Carolina, like I did, are the people of the mountains. And I say similarly culturally, while there's huge cultural differences, they're rooted in tradition and heritage and the past, and then that's what the similarity is from the people of the mountains of North Carolina and the people who are eastern North Carolina, the ones who grew up here and the ones that grew up there. I think we're more alike than anybody else in the state. Um, so even
okay,
though,
all right.
I really want to appeal to the people of eastern North Carolina to give.
By the way, this may be something you can help out with Kyle. We've been talking about the Queen's End Revenge with Justin Butts. More details to come, but the Queen's End the third will be doing a relief effort to Boone.
Good.
So there you go.
Good.
There you go. So you can get on that and hand out supplies, Kyle.
Yeah,
There you
no,
go.
that would be cool. Let me know when that is, Justin. If y'all need any people to help, I don't know how easy it is to get into Boone. I guess 421 is not cut off as much as it is on 40 to get into Asheville, Black Mountain, that area. I do hear there is a way to get into Black Mountain now, but you got to go around your head to get your ass.
Yeah.
But
280 roads, by the way, as of lunchtime, are still closed in North Carolina. So this is the worst, by the way, guys, the worst flooding we've had in Western North Carolina in over 170 years plus. So again, we obviously we're going to talk football. Bubba came in, so reminded me, I was going to say that before I pitched it to Kyle, but I just wanted to tell everybody we are thinking about everybody, and we are going to help any way we can. Justin, we can team up with you. It'll be great. We'll help you out any way we can.
yeah, and it's not only flooding. You got rock slides going on, landslides going on. Mudslides. You got entire, Chimney Rock. People say most of the town's gone. Swannanoa, the same situation.
Beautiful place.
A lot of areas like Montreat and Black Mountain, where huge chunks of the city were damaged. Then up in Avery County, places like Elk Park, Banner Elk, are in really bad shape. So it's and then even places like Boone took a lot of flooding. So we definitely want to help those people out. Bubba, welcome to the show.
Yeah, Western North Carolina guy, and I know, Bubba, you love the mountains like we do. And Matt, do you like the mountains of North Carolina? Don't want to leave you out of it as well, but I know the three of us do.
Beautiful, beautiful area, and feel terrible for the people in that region of the state who are going through this, and just sending good luck and prayers to that region, because it's going to be much needed, as Kyle mentioned, and you mentioned, Dave, a lot of devastation to that area. So, just wishing the best for all those people.
Yeah, in fact, we'll talk football in just a second. I just want to say really quick, you're looking at right now, we need to say huge prayers, because as one of my friends from Eastern Tennessee, new friends, told me today in a group chat, that it's going to get worse before it gets better. You're looking at right now in North Carolina, I think it's 103 confirmed deaths and over 1,000 1,000.
No, only 11 confirmed dead out of earlier, but there's rumored to be, I've heard rumored to be 500 dead, but they just can't confirm it yet because they're waiting to identify next of kin. But you don't want to spread rumors, as we are doing.
No.
But I think as of this morning, 11 confirmed, but even Roy Cooper acknowledged that number will be going up.
No doubt. So, all right, let's transition to football. But again, we'll be working on that. Thanks to Justin. Thanks to everybody that's working on stuff. Well, I know like schools and different things, but we'll definitely team up with Justin. You don't mind, we'll work with you on that. Bubba, let's get your thoughts on the game. And Matt, well, nice to get a win. Hey, I just wanted, there's some positives in there. I want to say, I know we can talk a lot about the things we need to improve on, but a lot of positives. Hey, we know that we're going to do better win totals. We got 3 wins now. I know that's reaching there, but what do you think, Bubba?
Yeah, first of all, thoughts and prayers to everyone impacted, and just the videos and pictures you've seen over the last few days, and just heartbreaking. But yeah, as far as the game, glad to see the Pirates be able to bounce back from a 13-3 deficit. Critical drive, there late in the first half that we were able to produce. I was commenting to my dad and the folks around me, just say, hey, we have to answer here. We cannot, not produce points on this drive and then potentially, go down or go into halftime at least down 10, maybe more, and then UTSA getting the ball coming out to start the second half, much like a week ago at Liberty. But fortunately, we did produce that necessary drive, and then you get the 3 and out to start the second half, and you go right down the field. There was a stretch there, overlapping halves. You had 4 possessions. 3 of those resulted in touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. So it was, you saw what this offense can be if you execute with consistency. But unfortunately, like Matt referenced, you had 7 possessions to close the game. And as Johnny Robertson put in the comments section just a moment ago, the Pirates had those 7 fourth-quarter drives and only ran 21 plays, resulting in 14 yards, not a single first down, average possession, 1 minute. So, just hats off to the defense for putting the stops on them, just time after time. And, offensively, a lot of good, but, still – and the majority of the good was through the passing game. We did continue to try to run the football, but we have to be, in my opinion, more creative in how we're going to run the ball. And I know we'll dive into that some as the show goes on, but we have to finish offensively. You can't expect the defense to just come out there and keep getting stops time after time. You have to be able to muster some sort of production.
No doubt. And thank you for Facebook and YouTube. Keep those comments coming. We got a huge audience tonight, as you would expect after a Pirate win. So make sure that you keep those comments and questions coming, and we'll get those to you in just a little bit. But appreciate the support of the show and the participation for sure. Go ahead, Kyle.
No. When you have 7 straight possessions for no points, that's insanity.
Right.
And you don't normally win games like that. And the offense went from so hot to so cold. It is so streaky. Garcia is streaky, and the play calling is streaky. One thing I do think is hurting us right now, UTSA has a good run defense, and we do not have a lot of depth at running back all of a sudden. You don't have Bond. He's injured. Marlon Gunn Jr. only had 1 carry last night, so I think I don't think he claimed he was at 90-some%, body wise coming after the accident. I don't think he is anymore. I think he's banged up. Montgomery, you saw get more carries last night. We got to run the ball outside some, and that's what really we didn't get going last night, or didn't even try to get going against UTSA. That I think we should have was the outside running game, and you could use Winston Wright Jr. on sweep plays or somebody like that. We did it a little bit against Liberty. I mean, run. I thought that Garcia looked good running the ball. I'd like to see more of that. It's not like we don't have. It's not like behind him isn't a Big Ten quarterback or anything. If you don't want him to get hurt, but again, in the fourth quarter, if you want to run the ball, be creative with it. You're handing it off to Rajay repeatedly. Take a handoff, bootleg Garcia out. And even if you don't want him to throw it, you have it on the design run. Set your receivers up as blockers. I mean, be creative in the fourth quarter. Even if the drives don't come away with points, you got to pick up some first downs. Hell, in that situation in the fourth, a field goal would have been huge. So, yeah, just disappointed the offense, I need to get me a drink of water. The offense went from so hot to so ice cold, and it seemed, Bubba and Matt, do you think that touchdown run that we gave up, that's what seemed to trigger to me the offense going ice cold?
Well, I think that definitely created a feeling of kind of here we go again. And I think panic set in a little bit there. I think more so for the coaching staff than the players, to be honest. But to your point, Kyle, you talk about running the ball inside and kind of beating your head against the wall. One of the key messages this week from Mike Houston, and I heard this throughout the week, was that UTSA's one of their best qualities as a team was their D tackles. And he talked about, hey, we got a few guys in there. They got a few guys that are 320, 330, big bodies inside, hard guys to move. And then you come out and your game plan is to run inside on those guys, like running into a brick wall all day long. So that made no sense to me whatsoever. I mean, that's something you want to blend in. But to your point, and you make a really good point, you have to establish some outside run game, some perimeter run game, whether it's jet sweeps, whether it's, you want to call it a toss sweep. I would love to see a little more two-back sets where it's almost an option look, where you kind of fake the dive and then you can pitch it to get a little outside run look. I really felt like we were kind of beating our heads against the wall. Now, on a positive side, my favorite play call of the night was, I want to say it was second quarter. We're right around the 10-yard line. We show jet sweep to Brock Spalding. He comes across in motion. We show jet sweep, which drew the linebacker, the outside linebacker, out of the middle of the field. He had to chase that jet sweep, and it opened up a nice running lane for Garcia, and he scored easily on that. I thought that was great execution. I thought that was a really good play call. And we used some eye candy. We used some motion. And, but to your point, in the fourth quarter, we just decided to shut it down. And I think we were afraid to throw the ball. I mean, it was really obvious that we were just not going to throw the ball at a certain point after that interception. And, hey, we were able to hang on and get the win. So that's a great thing. But would have liked to see a little more aggression and just a little more confidence, from this coaching staff to, hey, go, if you're confident in your offense, go run your offense.
Right.
So that's my thought on that. What do you guys think?
I think you're right. I think with that very thing, it felt like even the announcers, I was telling Kyle in our pre-show meeting in the green room, that the very fact is even the announcers were saying that the play calling, like all of a sudden it was conservative. So it's not just me that feels that way. And I'm glad we won the game. Like you said, I think there's things to clean up, but as I always say, it's better to get a win where you can build on that win than to have another loss. And also you have a team this week. We'll get into that later in the show with Charlotte and of course in our preview. But this game coming up for many reasons on Saturday is a must win at Charlotte. We got to win that game. So we'll talk about that later in the show, but certainly nice to be 3-2, guys. We're halfway through now to get to a bowl. And looking at the season, when we were talking ahead of time, we talked about there was a chance to be most likely 2-2, maybe 3-1. We knew there was probably not going to be a chance of being 4-0 with a non-conference schedule. But now that hey guys, you have a chance now to be two. If we can beat Charlotte, we'll be 2-0. Yeah, the bye week, then you're at Army, which is a tough road game. But I'm really excited to have a chance to be 2-0 in the conference and beating Charlotte. That's ahead of us. So a lot to build on from this win. Like Kyle said, it was not pretty, but we got it done and move on, right?
Well, it was pretty on defense. We talk about what wasn't pretty. The defensive effort was great. You gave us some big plays in the first half. You played bend but don't break. Got that adjusted in the second half, and outside of that long touchdown run on 4th and 1, the defense played perfect. And what really to me was the turning point in that game, because look, when we gave it that touchdown run, and then Garcia came out and threw the pick, he panicked. They had the momentum. The turning point in that game that suddenly gave us back was right after that pick. I think them going for it on 4th down and not getting it is where UTSA screwed up. I looked at Jessica and said, if I was them, I'd kick the field goal here, because we had just completely lost momentum. Had they kicked the field goal, we would have started to panic as a team had they made it, and not just the offense. But when they went for it on fourth down, the defense stopped them. That defense was not going to lose that game at that point. And so hats off to the way they played. And again, Matt, you have been tough on the kickers over the years, so you got to like the performance from young Mr. Noah there, making all three of his field goals, a couple of clutch kicks. They were all clutch kicks, really, and in a close ball game. From
Loved it.
what Houston said, he's missed one field goal in practice the entire last month.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I thought he looked great. I thought he looked really confident too. When he didn't show any, like, his body language was really good. He appeared confident. I thought he drove his kicks. I thought he was accurate. Split the uprights. So, man, I was really pleased with that. Really,
one thing I noticed, he really seemed
Noah
to take
Perez.
Yes, Perez. Yes. One thing I noticed, he really seemed to take his time. I'd like to go back and maybe that was just me overthinking it, Bub. I don't know if you noticed it, but it seemed to me that he took his time getting set more than Conrad does, and maybe that's just preference. But I don't know if that's. I just noticed that, and it seemed like a good thing to me that he was everything was kind of slowing down when he was out there kicking.
Yeah, and I'll kick it to Bubba on that one. I thought the operation looked really clean yesterday in the kicking game. Really good execution, and like I said, he was very confident. Bubba, what do you think on that?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was surprised. Me and the gentleman behind me, were commenting there on that first attempt. We were, to be honest, I was frustrated that we had a 3rd and 1, unable to get the first down, and then had to settle for kicking a 20-yard field goal. So, with that being the case, honestly did not notice that it was Noah as opposed to Andrew Conrad. But quickly confirmed that on my ESPN app. And then, he delivered a couple more times and obviously made all 3 of his extra points. And I did notice what you're referencing, and, regarding his process and body language, so forth. And, the 42-yarder, if not a ton of leg there on that attempt, we'll see on. And like to know if that's the edge of his range, as it appeared. But he very accurate and got the job done. So what I was thinking we might see before Coach Houston commented in the post game that Andrew Conrad was battling some sort of injury to some degree, and I saw him on the sideline, and but I thought we may see Andrew Conrad on the longer field goals, like we did back in the day, where I guess it was 1998, and you had Andrew Bays kicking the longer field goals, and Brantley Rivers or another kicker on the shorter attempts.
I still think what I think you will end up seeing is when anything is much over 40. I bet you'll see once Conrad gets back healthy, him attempt them, and they'll let Noah keep kicking extra points and shorter field goals, provided that he's making them that accurately. So I mean, why not? I mean, can you have a kicker controversy? I mean, people. I don't know why you just use 2 kickers. What's the big freaking deal?
No doubt. Hey, whatever it takes. Look, whatever it takes to win. I mean, if that's what it takes to win, and Noah Perez is like the short field goals, and then you have a long field goal specialist, then so be it. And what was it? Last week, didn't Temple have a 64-yarder, the longest field goal in Lincoln Field history? Or if I could take that was for a college game, it might be for a pro game as well.
Wow, that's a pretty impressive kick for sure.
Yeah.
But it's probably the best thing that's happened in the Link in a while.
I didn't go there. My Redskins are 3-1,
Oh
baby.
yeah, was that their win over Utah State where they inexplicably just became a good football team for 1 week
Yeah.
and then sucked again right after? Of course, Utah State is horrible. I think they made a really bad hire, but no, that was I saw that kick. Now that you say that, I was watching that game when he kicked it.
Yeah, and anyway, I was just saying, like, if you have I think what's Conrad's about 50, Bubba, low 50s guys.
Yeah,
I believe Andrew Conrad's longest has been 52.
Okay, I was thinking, yeah, okay,
but that was with much like the one that Owen Daffer hit at Navy from 54, that would have been good from 60 plus. Same thing with that one that Andrew Conrad, or a couple that Andrew Conrad has made, 50, 52. It had plenty of leg.
No doubt.
And back to the game. One thing I want to talk about to get back to the positives, that last defensive stand when we had them backed up in the end zone. We did not do what we did against Old Dominion on 4th down and go prevent. We brought full on pressure, probably the most pressure we had bought all game.
That was one of the things I was going to talk about.
I thought it was about to be a safety, but he got rid of the ball. And but yeah, that was a huge play. And again, hats off to the defense.
I was going to mention, I'm glad you brought that up, Kyle. That was one of my, definitely for the highlights of the game, because like you said, I said, oh my gosh, when I saw that play live, I was like, we're going to get a safe, and then we didn't. But still, the fact that we were still bringing it made me happy, instead of trying to keep everything in front of you, like you said, a prevent. That's what I was expecting. So I was caught off guard with that play call, and shout out to Blake Harrell there. Like you said, the defense, keeping those Matt Semenza, keeping the defense rather healthy. If we can do that, wow, this team, and then just and guys, just being a mediocre on offense, we can win more games with the schedule we got coming up, right?
Well, I think next week we can, but I don't think we can against Army.
Right. No, Army is a different animal.
I think next week we certainly can. I think Army is a whole nother animal this year. Really impressive team, but I mean, Dave, to your point, I thought we played a lot of guys defensively, a lot of young guys too, which was great, And I do think, again, talking about positives from yesterday, because I talked about some of the negatives. I do think our defensive front began to wear UTSA down in the fourth quarter. And I think that's one of the reasons why you started to see us getting more pressure. And I thought their quarterback I thought he got rattled. I thought McCown was rattled. He started throwing some bad balls. He was erratic. He took a beating in that game yesterday. I think the defensive front did a really good job kind of wearing them down. And I think a lot of that does help when you play so many guys. It gives you a chance to kind of stay a little more fresh late in the game. So I thought that paid off for us yesterday. Also love to see some of those interceptions we got. Anytime you can create turnovers like that, you give yourself a chance to win. And, we gave ourselves a short field many, many times in that game. And it's just one of those things where, like, if the offense can convert, and, even if, you don't have to score a touchdown every single time, but, you certainly like to see more touchdowns. But if you're kicking field goals, at least you're capitalizing on those turnovers. But I think that's where we need to get to next, guys, is like total team football, where it's complementary football. The offense complements the defense. You get a turnover and a short field, you need to go get points immediately. So that's kind of like, if this team's going to beat somebody like Army, we need to evolve to that point where it's complementary football. Let me ask you guys this. What did you think? Whoever wants to take this first, feel free. I'll throw it to Bubba. Bubba, what did you think on our first it was actually the second drive of the game. We get down inside the 5-yard line, and we were trying to pound it in 3 straight runs and settle for 3 there. Would you have settled for 3, or would you have gone for it?
I wanted us to go for it. My thoughts were, you're at the 3-yard line facing 31. And I say that you're at least at the 3, if not inside the 3. And with the way we play defense, I understand, you're early in the game. you put a good drive together right there after the turnover at midfield. But I really wanted to, given the yard, excuse me, the down and distance in the yard line, I wanted to go ahead and kind of send a statement going for it there and get in the end zone. And then if you don't get it, then you still have them in that situation backed up. But I was hoping like maybe we go to our jumbo set, short yardage package that we'd used against Liberty and play action pass out of it, or to kind of something like we did later, where we the play that you referenced, where we faked jet sweep and had the read play or design run by Jay Garcia for the touchdown when we were faced with a 3rd and goal situation.
Yeah, the problem on that sequence before going forward on 4th down was the conservative play call. Now, granted, it was early in the game, and we were trying to see if we could run it on them. But you need to be more creative down there, so you don't have to go for it on 4th down. You get it on 1st, 2nd, or 3rd down. I wanted to go for it on 4th down at the time. I understood why we kicked the field goal, particularly being it was a new kicker. You want to go ahead and get him out there and give him confidence. Didn't know that at the time, but in hindsight, but yeah, I wanted to go for it. But all in all, it worked out. We needed those 3 points. Had we got nothing on that drive, it would have been a difference in the ball game. But no, I wanted to go for it. Something I wanted to touch on that you were talking about, Matt, was scoring off turnovers. All 3 of our touchdown drives were long drives, which is good that we were able to put together long drives or hit big plays from long drives. But on the turnovers, I think we only scored, if I'm not mistaken, 1 field goal off 1 turnover. So I kind of had an idea. I don't know if it's a dumb idea or not, but turnovers are extra possessions. Could you script a series of plays each week and call them gunslinger? It's gunslinger offense. When we get a turnover, we go wide open, balls to the wall. This is an extra possession. These are scripted plays that Garcia, is comfortable with running. That when we get a turnover, 2 or 3 a game, we have a gunslinger package. We're wide open right now because this is an extra possession anyway. Do y'all think that's a good idea, bad idea? I'm just trying to think of a way to maybe make it more loose for the guys because they seem to actually struggle scoring when we get a turnover. It's like we panic. We seem to do better when we're scoring off of drives we start off of from punts or kickoffs.
Yeah, I'll definitely jump in on that because I think there's a lot of things we could do to help ourselves. I think yesterday a big part of the game plan was trying to throw outside the numbers. A lot of really long throws for Garcia outside the numbers. Those are tough throws to make. And, on the very first play of the game, we tried to throw an out route, one of many, and it almost was a pick six. That was, if you guys recall, that was very close to being a pick six.
Yeah, I recall. As soon as I saw the play unfolding, I told my dad, I said, that may be a pick six.
Yeah.
And fortunately, the defensive back, had his hands and arms turned the wrong way, and what I mean by that, I understand he still picked it off, but if he'd have had his hands the way he should have, he could have caught the ball a little sooner and scored as opposed to waiting on the ball to travel a split second farther. But
right.
But yeah, fortunately it didn't go for a touchdown. And you have your defense respond the way we already referenced.
Yeah, and just to kind of follow up on that thought, you look at some of the things I think we could do more of. I think we could run a lot more mesh, get our tight ends involved, get some shallow crossers involved with Winston Wright and Jari Patterson, who I thought played a good game yesterday. I think we could work the middle of the field more. Crossing routes, especially, something that really seems to be missing from this offense. And mesh, mesh is a staple of college football now, and you're just not seeing a lot of it. Now, you look into red zone specifically inside the 10, and you look at what some of these teams are doing against us. Let's go back last week to Liberty, and then we saw it again yesterday on UTSA's first touchdown. spread the field. I believe they were an empty gun, and they have man-to-man matchups, one-on-one matchups, and they're throwing, it's not a fade, it's not really a jump ball, but you're just throwing it over the outstretched arm of the linebacker. And they got a touchdown off that yesterday. And I think to your question, it's a long-winded answer, Kyle, but I don't see anything wrong with getting your biggest, tallest receivers on the field. Guys like Savage, guys like Kelly, the freshman Yannick Smith, where you can throw those type of routes against man coverage in the red zone and have success.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like I say, particularly, we need to do something to get the offense going when we're getting the ball off of turnovers. And something else that, we talked about via text messaging, when Garcia goes cold like that, just ice cold, just pull him out and put in Hauser. I think something that if I was Mike Houston, we got the archives. Go back and watch how Skip Holtz and Todd Finch managed the Patrick Pinckney Rob Cass situation once Pinckney won the job. Rob Cass was there for 2 years, and he knew Pinckney was the starter, and he was the backup. But he came in and won games for us. He won the Memphis game for us in '08. He helped us win the Hawaii Bowl because Pinckney went cold. The UTEP game, Pinckney didn't have the arm to throw the Hail Mary from midfield. And, Cass did that and won it in overtime for us. But Pinckney was always the starter. And that's how I think we could approach this. Garcia, your starter, your job's not in danger, but we're going to start playing Hauser, get him in the game, get him experience. And, if you go cold, don't panic. We're going to sit you on the bench for a series or two and let you watch and get your head back together and let Hauser go out there and throw the ball. And, and make it clear Garcia's job's not in danger. Now, if Hauser's red hot, then you leave him in. But I think if you go back and you watch, we won back-to-back conference championships playing two quarterbacks. So to say that it can't work is BS. What you can't have is musical quarterbacks or quarterback controversy. But if you can manage it like Skip and Finch, Holtz and Todd Finch did, eh, to me that could work. You register Garcia. You're the starter. Hauser is going to come in when we need him and when you need to get your head together and to spark the offense. I think it would be a good idea. Bubba, what do you think?
Yeah, I know it's something you and I were discussing earlier. And do I think we'll see it? No, I don't. But it's something that, if utilized, is not exactly the same reasoning, that Coach Logan used it. And Coach Logan was using it to give the starter, be it David Garrard or someone else, an opportunity to see a series from the sideline, from a different perspective. And honestly, like you referenced, I think that's something that, given the inconsistencies that Jake Garcia has had at times, that would be beneficial to. Okay, hey, you're doing a lot of great things, but I think seeing this from a different perspective could benefit you in the long run. But do I think we will? No.
Yeah, and back again, more so what I was comparing it to than I know, what you were referencing with Logan was, Rob Cass, Patrick Pinckney, where
And
look,
yeah,
Pinckney was streaky like Garcia. And Pinckney, games like West Virginia, he was perfect the whole game. North Carolina, 07, perfect. And then there was other games where he couldn't complete a pass to save his life. And there was some of those games where Rob Cass was able to come in and bail our asses out.
yeah,
Against like I said, I referenced to Memphis, UTEP, the Hawaii Bowl. So yeah, that's how I'd really like to see it utilized.
yeah. And I know I didn't, mention Patrick Pinckney and then also Rob Cass, but when I referenced that with the consistency element, that's kind of where I was going with that because. As you mentioned, I remember the examples that you talk about, down at the Sun Bowl against UTEP, That was a situation where you had to, in my opinion, go to Rob Casson because you had 35 yards. He had a much stronger arm than Patrick Pinckney, and if we were going to tie that game, using the play that we did, that was a no-brainer. But then, as you mentioned in the Hawaii Bowl, where we had relinquished the lead against Boise State, it was a matter of lack of effectiveness there late, and then you bring Rob Cass in off the bench, and he throws a strike, a whole throw against cover two, if I'm not mistaken, to Jamar Bryant down the left sideline. And there were other times as well. Seems like at home against maybe UCF or Memphis or someone.
Memphis
Rob
and
Cass
08.
came in a rain game. I think it was Memphis, and played really well.
Yeah, Memphis '08. Rob came in. We were down at the half, and Rob came in the second half and executed the offense, and we beat Memphis that day. But anyway, the point that we're talking about this, we've gotten off on a tangent, is we can utilize Hauser the same way as we utilize Rob Cass. There's no need not to, and I think in that situation, it can make Garcia a better quarterback.
All right, guys, do you want to now we've got by the way, thank you again. There's so many people watching and listening tonight, and so we've got a lot of people commenting. I know Bubba's got some that we can put up with, but there's so many we can't get to every single one, but we'll try to get to as many as we can. That's a good problem to have. Bubba, do you want to start those off that you highlighted? I don't know if we've if Bubba was there.
I bet Bubba is Bubba, you back? Yeah, I bet Bubba's away from his computer right now, so he'll be back in a minute, and when he gets back, we'll
you guys
have his
want,
comments up.
I can
Matt's gonna do it. Matt's got it. Here we go.
Yep. So let me go back. Let's see. Did you guys want to just go through some of these rapid fire?
Yeah. Lightning round.
So a little lightning round.
We'll respond quickly.
Okay. So Monica Keefe, average 1.3 yards per carry, 47 rushing yards, is not going to get it done as the season goes on. This would have been a different game if their receiver hadn't dropped multiple passes.
Well, and you got to credit our defense for that also. But I agree with you on the running game 100%. We got to get more creative with the running game. I do think this is one of the better run defenses we're going to see this year, but we've got to get better with the running game. That would have also helped the passing game late in the game.
Yeah, 1.3 yards per carry, very tough. And I think a lot of that is just, you're again trying to run into a brick wall. And they talked about it. You have defensive tackles, 320, 330 pounds. So show some creativity in the run game. But I think those are really good points. They did have some drops down the stretch there as well. But, I think we absolutely need to run the ball better. So I agree with Monica on that. Let's see here. We have Chuck. Chuck, does anyone like the play where we had 3rd and 8 and then threw a 35-yard pass that went incomplete? I'm trying to recall the play. You guys recalling the play that Chuck's talking about?
It was. I think it was. It was either late in the game. Are you talking about the play late in the game? In the second half, in the fourth quarter, or the play? The play I'm thinking of earlier in the game where it was just a horrible incompletion, one of the longest incompletions you'll ever see. I didn't think that was 3rd down. So it was either that play where it was the ridiculously long incompletion where I didn't even see anybody in the area, or either it was late in the game on 3rd and 8 where we had a long incompletion. But I think he's talking about the throw that I don't even know it had to be a miss route.
Yeah, I did observe there were a few times in the game where receivers were not on the same page. And there was the one play earlier where Anthony Smith broke off his route around 15 yards, maybe 12 to 15 yards. Garcia thought he was going to continue running deep. And, I saw that a few times. So I'm not sure which one. But, yeah, I mean, some of those pass plays down the field, the timing was off. So let's take another one here. Matt Redmond. they were terrified of us in the fourth quarter. That the offense would have had a big turnover, and the play calling down the stretch reflected that. Yes, that's something we were talking about earlier, right, guys? I mean, I think in the fourth quarter, I think we were definitely calling plays worried about turnovers, and we got very conservative there. Dave likes to talk a lot about conservative. So, Dave, if you want to chime in on that one.
Yeah, Matt, you're definitely right. That's the thing that bothers me is that, yes, there's certain, Kyle talked about there's certain times when you want to run the ball and you want to do the clock, but at the same time, you still have to play your game and you still have to pick up first downs. And it feels like that we're just like saying, okay, well, you have like 30, like you can burn like 2 minutes if we just, run the ball right up the middle or whatever. But I know it's not exactly that, but I'm just saying it still feels like in fact, guys, when you were talking about the 7 possessions, that tells you that the defense is doing their job. I was going to mention that, guys. The defense is doing their job. They're giving you the ball right back. So you just need to find ways to pick up first downs is my point. I'm not saying you have to like when Chuck was talking about the 35-yard pass. I'm not talking about that. But the one thing, guys, help me out on this. But do you guys think we're missing the short passing game? That's something that seems like
at times, and at times we executed. There was a couple of
right.
nice throws to Winston Wright in the short passing game, or the medium range passing game, one-on-one for a touchdown. We need to get the ball in his hands more. What's the next question?
I'm flipping back here. There was a great comment from Johnny Robertson. I was trying to find that, but I'll have to go back to that one. Let's go to William Landon. Thanks for chiming in, William. We're certainly capable of more on offense, but with the poor line play and bland run game, the staff must start getting more creative. Yep, exactly, William. Something I think we all agree with.
Yeah, and I don't think the offensive line is horrible. I just don't think they're as good as UTSA's defensive line, and we got to be able to run it outside more, and you ain't got Bond, so you got to get more creative with how to do it. And as much as we fake sweeps, how often is, speaking of that, how often is faking a sweep going to work if you don't run a sweep every now and then?
It's same principle. Yeah, exactly. You have to show it to open up the middle occasionally. And so, yeah. And I think, since we're talking about the offensive line, one of the things I wanted to mention, and I'm not sure if Bubba's back. I think Bubba cut out, but, a lot of people are talking about Garcia, and certainly there are holes in his game right now that he needs to improve on. And I think we've talked a lot about that, but I think this offensive line could really help him out more. And yesterday in particular, our center had massive problems with snaps. And I mean massive problems. I mean, there at one point in the third and fourth quarter, he must have had 7 out of 10 snaps were bad. And I mean way off to the side. Those little things take you out of your rhythm as a quarterback. We need to clean up those snaps. When you're running a play that's predicated on timing, precise timing, routes, the ball needs to come out on time. When you're snapping the ball 2 feet off to the left and the quarterback now has to reach down for it, come back up and throw it, your timing is now off. So I'm sure, I don't know if you guys observe that. Anybody who's listening, if you have any thoughts on that, because it was a big, big problem in that game yesterday.
Yeah, no, that's been a problem all year, and we got to get that fixed. I hope they're working on it at practice, and it will correct itself eventually. But another thing, and it seems like we're being negative after a 10-point win against a what I think is a talented football team that maybe doesn't have the right quarterback. Another point of panic, and we've complimented the special teams, but Brock Spalding dropped 2 fair catches yesterday, and we cannot have that. He got them back, or he recovered one, and somebody else recovered another. But God Almighty, that could have been disastrous.
Oh, absolutely. And those were close to being recovered, Kyle. No doubt about it. And those could have been game-changing plays right there. So yeah, I mean that's going to have to be cleaned up, as we say a lot. John Breen, can we talk about Mike Houston's lack of killer instinct, up multiple touchdowns in multiple games, allow the other team to come back and win, or make it uncomfortable? Yep. I think that Mike does tend to, I think he's a more conservative coach, and he likes to fall back on that. And sometimes when you play not to win, you're playing in a protect mode,
not to lose.
Not to lose, it will bite you, and it happens all the time in college football. And yesterday, I think we were able to get out of that game with a win, and it didn't bite us because our defense played really well down the stretch. And I think UTSA is certainly not, Alabama. So, but I think if you do that against a really good offensive football team, you're probably not going to win.
No, I agree, and we're going to have to. There's a time to be conservative with this defense. I think if you're up by 14, with or 2 scores in general, 11 points, whatever, and you're 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, I think that's when the time you put it on ice and run the ball. But if you're not up by 2 scores with 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, you need to stay aggressive. Because, just because we need to score more points. You're up 1 score in the fourth, and you go that conservative, and I think a lot of it was because Garcia threw that pick right after we gave up the score, and that made the play calling us ultra conservative. Well, if you don't have confidence in him at that point, pull him out and put in Hauser and let him have a chance. I mean, particularly, if the running game's effective, then, that's not being conservative, really. That's just your running game's working, so you might as well utilize it. But, yeah, I mean, that game could have been put away. Matt, the irritating part is one field goal, as we finally kicked at the very end, of all those damn offensive possessions, one field goal would have put that game away. With that defense, you go up 2 scores, like I say, with 8 minutes to go. I think you're going to beat most teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where we need to get to as a team, for sure. I think that's a really good point. I'm just going to run through a few more comments and a little more like rapid fire here. Jeff Collins, our OC, seems to fall back into the scheme of not playing to lose. This falls in line with what we're talking about. Depending on our defense to hold the lead, this is not going to work against Army, which will be more physically brutal. I agree, and also more disciplined. Army will be very disciplined, so I think Jeff makes a really good point.
And again, is it ROC or is the head coach telling him to do that?
That's the $1 million question. Andy, I mentioned critical first down interceptions by Garcia 2 weeks ago being a concern. Garcia did it again and brought UTSA back in the game. He simply continues to make the same mistakes and locks in and forces the issue.
No, that did not bring UTSA back in the game. That interception, they did not score on that interception. That actually was when we got the momentum back. We stopped them there. No interception he threw yesterday resulted in any points for UTSA.
Yeah, I understand Andy's point, though. Although the momentum flipped to our favor there with the stop. I mean, you had the 4th down, where they go for it, that outside run play, and we missed the tackle, and the guy cuts back inside, and
yeah, that's
45 yards later or so, it's a touchdown, and then you very easily could have had a tie ball game, following that interception, and as we already mentioned, that could have very easily been a pick six had the DB. It looked like he just extended his arms and caught the ball a little bit sooner and taken it to the house, but fortunately he did not.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I understand that what I was just being factual to the game. But yes, obviously that pick could have been disastrous. And it could have tied the game up. And, like I said earlier in the show, if I was trailer there, I'd have kicked the field goal because they had all the momentum there. And the only way we were going to get it back was to stop them on fourth down, and we did. So, again, hats off to the defense there. But, of course, he cannot make that throw there, and we got to be smarter than that. And again, if you get to the point after that where you can't trust him, then pull him and put in Hauser. Again, just because you put in Hauser doesn't mean Garcia's not your starting quarterback anymore. I just don't understand that logic. If he goes ice cold and you got a guy who started 7 Big Ten games sitting behind him, then play the son of a bitch. It doesn't mean Garcia's not your starter anymore.
Yep, and a few more quick comments, guys. Brandon, we could be 5-2 when Temple comes to Greenville with wins over Charlotte and Army. Yep, absolutely. Certainly could be. Like we said, Brandon, before the season, every game is 50-50 pretty much this year. And then this one I love, Robert Dedrick, FYI, Omega Blake, ECU transfer, had 2 long touchdowns. Listen, Omega Blake, we need to, I say this in a professional way, we need to make his life miserable next week. He came here for a short period of time. He took NIL money. By all accounts, he wasn't doing the work required. He was kind of a diva. And then he left and went to Charlotte. So I don't want him to do anything next week. And I hope our defense is really locked in on kind of making it a very long night for him.
Yeah, he's talented, and that is definitely when they put in the young quarterback. That's definitely who he was targeting. What I saw last night is you got to get pressure on that quarterback, and if you do, he does not like it, and he will throw picks. I think really didn't against Rice last night, but I could see it against our defense if we can get pressure on him. If that's who starts, they may start the white kid that started the previous 2 games. They played 3 quarterbacks this year. Charlotte changes quarterbacks. You talk about the opposite of us. Good God, they do it too much. They'll change a quarterback in the middle of a friggin' series. That's something we're going to have to prepare for as multiple quarterbacks. They don't have much of a running game, knock on wood. But I would expect we'll get their best effort. We'll be their super duper bowl. But you know what? They need to be our Super Bowl. We need to embrace this rivalry, embrace the hate. They're in our conference. You might as well embrace it. We didn't like them coming in here last year and beating us on our home field. So let's go return the favor. We are a much better football team than them if we execute. I really, I think it'll be a close game, but if we execute the way we are capable of the full game, we could kick their ass. I fully expect it to be a close game, but I hope we live up to our expectations. And if anybody saw the line, it was briefly at 4 when it first hit the Vegas boards. But by the time it was at the sports books, it was at 7.5. And I don't know what it is right now, but I know the last time I looked at DraftKings and what was the other one? Odd Shark, it was at 7.5. So 7.5 point road favorite. That's one of those lines that a lot of people don't like to touch when you get that half point in there. Let's go beat Charlotte. This is a game that everybody in Pirate Nation wants. I don't know if anybody wants it as much as Bubba. Bubba might want to beat Charlotte worse than he would want to beat NC State or UNC.
Yeah, pretty close. So, after last year's debacle, I know preseason we were talking about. I think one of the media outlets posed a question on X. Which game would you like to win the most? And the most common answer was App State, and I certainly understood why. And that would have been number 2 for me. But number 1 is undoubtedly Charlotte, because as much as I did not want to lose to App State a third time as we did, just a lot more respect for their program and a lot less shame in losing that game compared to a potential second loss to Charlotte.
Absolutely. Bubba, Noah Callum chiming in, or a lot of ECU fans going to be at the UNC Charlotte game. What do you guys think?
I know we were allotted, I think, right around 1,500 tickets. And then obviously there are plenty of East Carolina fans that have purchased tickets. I did see, here, I guess it was a couple weeks ago now, some Charlotte fans were laughing because many Pirate fans have told them, how their stadium was going to be purple and gold. And then they saw us send back maybe, I don't know if it was 105 or 10 tickets. And it was kind of a odd number. And yes, that was a bit surprising, but at the same time, I just believe that with there's a good number of people that have purchased mini plans, also maybe even economy plan season tickets. And with that being the case, I definitely expect to have at least 2,500 to 3,000 there, which would be 20% of their stadium.
Yeah, I expect it to be 3,000 or 4,000. Honestly, maybe at the minimum too. It's a must win. You talk about something else, and I'll mention it here. It worked last time. Maybe it'll work this time. As I mentioned, we hadn't won a home game against an FBS opponent since October 22nd, 2022. I can't say that now. So I'll point this out.
And I'm glad you can't.
Yeah, Mike Houston has not beaten an FBS opponent from the state of North Carolina. He is 0-1 against Charlotte. He is 0-3 against App. He is 0-2 against NC State. So this is a must-win for him. For another thing, he needs to get off his back. That is a monkey that should not be on his back, and it is. And he needs to get that off. And we need to go beat Charlotte this weekend. I think the defense will be ready to go. This offense, I wouldn't put any more added pressure on them because it's Charlotte. Just let them go out there and execute. But I would be highly motivated on defense to. I'd try to pitch a shutout. Now, do I think we will? No, but that would be my goal this week is to try to pitch a shutout. I don't, I don't think we will, but if I'm the defense, I'm trying to shut them out. They held us to 7 points last year. Let's at least match that. Let's see if we can hold them to 7.
And they gifted us those 7 points. If we're being honest, they muffed a punt and gave us the ball inside the 10-yard line. And otherwise we may have been shut out last year. But Philip Lee chiming in says we have to beat UNCC, and yeah, that's something that's certainly a sore subject with them. They absolutely hate being called UNCC because several years ago they made the decision athletically to go by the Charlotte 49ers rather than UNCC.
Yeah,
I love that. So now they're UNCC for now on for me. That's great.
Yeah.
But if we lose to Charlotte, guys, can we just shut down the program because they're a horrible team?
Well, they'll be ready for us. That's the whole thing. They'll be ready for us, and they are physical. They do play a physical brand of football, and they won last night. And I'll tell you something else that's a little scary. They are a better second-half team than a first-half team. I've seen them come back, and both their wins were come-from-behind wins. Now, they were come-from-behind wins against Gardner-Webb and Rice, but nonetheless, they did win them. And they should have lost that game to Rice last night. I watched that second half. Their fourth down, they were 4th and goal and threw an incomplete pass, and it was a bad pass interference call on Rice. It should have never been called, particularly in that situation, and gave them 1st and goal from the 2. They score. Rice goes right back down the field in 47 seconds and misses a game-winning field goal. But Charlotte should not have won that game last night, but they did. And they'll have a little bit of confidence and momentum as they hit home for their biggest home game of the year. They're going to want this game. Their fans, look, we let App come in here and beat us, so now we better go to Charlotte and beat them. And I'd like to do it in style, but I'll gladly take a 1-point win in overtime.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
I'll disagree with you on that one, Kyle. If we win by 1 point in overtime, I might jump off the Green Street. What was that thing Logan used to talk about? The Green Street Bridge?
Yeah.
Where is that bridge? I know it's on Green Street, but is that?
It's near the town common.
All right. If we win the game by 1 point in overtime, Kyle, I will jump off the Green Street Bridge.
Naked?
As long as it's not too high up. I mean, how high can it be?
Naked, like
Tarzan.
No, damn it, like no.
I
Help me
know. I
out,
was just
guys.
joking.
Tony Collins, like Tony Collins.
Oh yeah, butt naked.
That's right. Yes, yeah.
Buck naked Tony Collins. But yeah, no, I would assume you'd rather win by 1 point in overtime than lose.
To me, that would be the equivalent of a loss. But yeah,
no, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't.
I mean, we're talking about maybe a bottom 10 worst team in college football. Good.
Yeah, let's don't give them. I don't look. Let's not give them too much bulletin board material. I know we're not official parts of the team, but they beat us last year. We're 7.5 point favorites, not 27 point favorites. So just go win the football game. Yeah, I'd like to do it in style, but this football team has not shown they can beat anybody in style except for Norfolk State. You know, we beat ODU on the road by 6. We beat UTSA by 10. I'd certainly be happy with a 10-point win over Charlotte. Yeah, and I'll take a 1 point win. Personally, I think it would be hysterical to watch. Actually, I say it would be hysterical to watch Bubba. To be honest, it would be just as hysterical to watch me. I'd be a freaking mess if we were in an overtime game with Charlotte. but nonetheless, we better win it. We better win it. Whatever it takes, man. Just beat Charlotte. And Biff Poggi, my God, I don't know how the UNC Charlotte. I don't know how the UNC Charlotte administration allows him to dress that way on the sidelines. I was watching him last night at Rice. He had on a pair of shorts, a T-shirt that did have some sleeves on it. It was very short, but it wasn't sleeveless. And the collar was stretched out like he had been pulling on it all night. I don't. The man's the slob. I don't. And this is coming. And I'm not talking about his weight. I'm a big dude. Present yourself better. I mean, just put on a damn. Just put on a pair. Look, just put on a pair. Just put on a polo with your shorts, and you'll be fine. I mean, I can't imagine.
It's not like he can't afford clothes.
Exactly. I don't. You know, just beat them. Just for the love of God, beat them. Just
I've seen, and guys, I've actually seen coaches and practices dress better than he does. And I mean, game day is game day. I'm sorry, game day is game day.
I wonder how much. You know, not many of their team is from. A lot of them are from the D.C., Virginia area, I think. I don't know how many players. Bubba, you may. He's got so many transfers there. The whole team basically transfers.
Microwave.
Are there any? Well, that's what everybody's doing now. But is there anybody really? How much of their team is made up of North Carolinians that really would get the significance of the rivalry, except from hearing it from students? All right.
I'd stepped away for a moment, Kyle. The significance of this matchup.
Yeah, to their players. How many of them are from North Carolina, Charlotte's players? Because they're so portal heavy that would get the significance of the East Carolina game besides hearing it from the student body.
Obviously, I think I know when Biff Poggi came in, and they brought in a decent number of guys from that DMV area. So I think a decent percentage are certainly aware of the Pirate program and why this would be a big game. But this game in general, just being the second time the schools have ever played in football, certainly does not have the feel, even with only playing Appalachian 3 times since they've become FBS, and I guess 5 times, since 1980. That has certainly much more of a rivalry feel, and a big part of that is because they've had such a strong program and have a very strong fan base, as do we. Charlotte, has been around, minimally, and really, outside of a season or two, I guess, has not had really any success. And I don't think they've ever had a winning season, because I think even the year when they went to a bowl game, went to the Bahamas, I think they finished 6-7. So, and I think they had a home win against Duke there late in the David Cutcliffe era. But point being that they have not had a chance to really establish any tradition to speak of as of yet.
Home win against Duke. They also had a home win against Marshall that actually got them bowl eligible the year they went bowling. But this is a game that we need to win, and it's a game that we're the better football team. I don't know how much of getting into the in-state rival part you want to get into if you're the coaching staff, or do you just want to say we're the better football team? Let's go win it. Let's treat it like business. Do you go into the emotion of, hey, this is the in-state game, or do you just say this is a business trip? We're the better football team. Let's go handle business.
I think you have to worry about Matt and Bubba can speak to it, being former players, but I would say yes, you need to take it seriously. But I agree with you.
Oh
Kyle.
yeah, you got to take it seriously.
No, I'm just saying. What I'm saying is, like, we're not saying, oh, we can. We're not doing a Mac Brown. We can easily beat this team. But at the same time, I worry about, and I want to ask Matt and Bubba, you get your emotions too high where you don't play your brand of football. So I guess it's somewhere in the middle.
Well, guys, I would just approach this just as the way Kyle mentioned in terms of it's a business trip. I wouldn't really get too much into the whole. I just hate the idea of ever calling this a rivalry game, even though it's in state. It's just not.
But it is, Matt. It is, and I'll tell you why. Because we all want to win it so bad. So you can say it ain't all you want, but you want to beat them so bad. So it is.
Maybe for you, it's definitely not for me. I'm telling you, it's not.
Well, then, so you don't. So you it's not going to bother you if you lose to them more than somebody else.
It would bother me only from the standpoint that
it's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing, and they were. My problem with Charlotte has always been that, as an East Carolina fan, we've had to kind of scratch and claw, guys.
Yeah,
and we've had to work so hard to get this point.
That's how everybody feels.
And this is a program that essentially was gifted Division I status because of their location in a major city. I don't think they've had to work for it.
Exactly.
So, but I don't. Anytime like I don't get into the rivalry thing with them. App, sure, I respect App, but I just think just treat it as a business trip. Go out, play your best football. Take it very seriously, because we are not the type of team where if we are not a good enough team at this point to take any weeks off. So I'm not suggesting we don't take it very seriously. Have a great week of practice. But I just, in terms of the word rivalry, I just can't. I can't get on board with that.
Well, what I'm telling you is Charlotte is looking at us as a rival, and I'm telling you from experience, and as an East Carolina player from experience, when one team views it as a rival and the other one doesn't, the team that doesn't view it as a rivalry is going to lose. Ask NC State and UNC. So that's what I'm saying. The fans want to win this game very bad. So I'm telling you, embrace the hate. I know nobody wants to admit they're a rival, and it's all for the reasons you just said. And I agree with you 100%, but they're going to treat it as their Super Bowl. So we need to match their energy. I would treat it as a business trip, but we need to come to, particularly on defense, to knock some heads off.
Yeah, I think with by the way, guys, this is I saw this stat I want to throw in there. Here's another one for you guys that I want to mention. The team notes. ECU tied a season high with 3 forced turnovers, and of course that was the same as Appalachian State. We did get the win yesterday, but that's the kind of energy we need against the Charlotte team. And I think the other thing I wanted to mention is I agree with you guys. I see where both of y'all are going with your points. Well,
we're making the same. We're actually making the same point. We're just taking different angles with how to view the same thoughts.
So what I would say is, yes, we need to treat. I know what you're saying, Kyle. We need to treat it like a rivalry, but Matt, this is not our Super Bowl, and what I'm saying is not that disrespect. Our standards are to win a conference championship. Yes, we need to beat Charlotte, but that's on the road to the conference championship. So this is the next step for us on the road, is the way that I would frame it. Kyle, I totally get it. If you just do the Mac Brown yeah, we're supposed to already beat Charlotte anyway. They're like whatever he wants
Well,
to
I mean
say.
that's irrelevant to the players that are here now and the players they have now. How long we've had a program, as much as we hate to admit it, in the day and age of transfer portal, don't make a damn. The players that are there are all Division I football players. So, they don't care how all our players, Charlotte's pretty much had football as long as they can remember. So it's an in-state team. We are better than them. So treat it like a business trip from that standpoint, but know that they're going to give us their best effort. So we better match their energy is what I'm trying to say. And the students,
I love this.
Bubba just got so frustrated he left. The students all week, he can't handle it because he hates Charlotte so much. The students all week are going to be in the ears of our players saying, you better beat Charlotte. You better beat Charlotte. I guarantee you, because they all got friends that go to Charlotte. They all have friends that go to Charlotte. And the students are going to be in the ears of our players all week saying, you better beat Charlotte. You better beat Charlotte. Mike Houston knows he better beat Charlotte. He knows it. He knows how mad we were we lost that game last year. So to me, the only way to do that is embrace their energy. Treat it like a business trip, yes, but bring the intensity.
Right. Don't just think you're going to walk all over them.
I promise you, there are enough players that are returning from last year that what transpired that day did not sit well with them. And so I know, obviously, Holton wasn't a part of that team, but as a young grad and a recent alum of the football program, so he has said numerous times, throughout the last couple months, when this matchup has come up, that it's cannot lose to Charlotte, cannot lose that game. So the guys know. We just have to handle our business. And you heard guys talking about the matchup with App State being circled. I have not heard those.
The offense, they just need to treat it like a business trip. I don't want any emotion or extra pressure on the offense. The defense, on the other hand, they can handle all the pressure.
Bring it. That's right. That's exactly right. I think, by the way, James is asking you, Matt, how about this? Matt, I mean, do you view North Carolina State as a rivalry?
Well, that's a good
sarcasm.
I mean, I do, to a point that there's a long history there. I mean, there's probably,
That's going way back.
over 20 games in the history where, we've had some back and forth games. We've beaten them plenty of times. So I think that's been established over the years versus, again, Charlotte, who, we've played once. And trust me, I'm not saying I want to beat them as bad as anybody. Like, I want to win
49-0.
I don't want to have a first down. But
it's not a rivalry.
But what I'm saying is, just from a player standpoint, I don't think you have to call it a rivalry to be 1,000% motivated to go get a win. That's just my feeling on it. Listen, I could be wrong. Certainly appreciate everybody's opinion. Charlotte, not yet. Maybe after 10, 15 years of playing them, maybe after several back and forth games. But hey, let's beat them 60-0. I hope.
Ask James how it's gone for Southern Miss not embracing South Alabama as a rival and not embracing UAB as a rival when they first came into Conference USA. Didn't always go too well. So I'm just saying, you better match their intensity. Whether as a former player you want to. I wonder. Matt's deal is as a former player and as somebody who has put time into East Carolina football, just like I love East Carolina football. He doesn't want to give them the
credit.
The credit as calling them a rivalry because they haven't earned it.
Hey,
and I agree with that, but at the same time, just embrace the hate. Just embrace the hate.
And I certainly understand it from that standpoint, but I also agree with Kyle. They if they didn't have our respect before, after what took place last October, they should certainly have our attention and respect. And I think they do. And we'll see how it unfolds.
And hey, Matt, If here's what I'll say. Here's my and Kyle. Here's my challenge to the team. If they're not a rival, then hang, like you said. Every time Matt comments, this adds another 10 points. Hang 60, hang 70 on them. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
We're not hanging 60 or 70 on them.
I know that. I'm just saying, like, that's how we got to.
My biggest thing is the defense. I'd like to see the defense lock them down. This is a game that I don't want to put a bunch of pressure on the offense and give their defense a chance to get them in the game and get their fans fired up and create a bunch of turnovers. That is the last thing we need. You don't want to go too conservative with the game plan, obviously, but this is a game the defense needs to go out and as they have done for us, they need to dominate this game. And when they get us turnovers, because there will be turnovers, we need to take advantage of it.
Yeah, Charlotte Community College is not a rival, but we need to make that point this Saturday.
Okay.
Southern Miss was a rival. Virginia Tech was a rival. Absolutely. In fact, we've said, Monica, many times, Southern Miss needs to be on the schedule. And Virginia Tech, we need to look, 2018 was 2018. We need to fight like crazy to get that game back, because both
I think the only way we're going to get Virginia Tech on the schedule is if we do a bye game with them.
That ain't happening, bro. I agree with you, but I'm sorry. But let me say something to Virginia Tech fans.
I agree.
Hey, this is not hate, Virginia Tech fans. Michael Vick was like 25 years ago, 24 years ago. Okay, you're not at that level now. It's embarrassing to even think that you're at that level. So we've had to eat some humble pie. You can too. And both fan bases, if you think that you're that much better than us, I'm not trying to get off on a tangent, Virginia Tech, but if you think you're that much better, that's why wouldn't you schedule home and home? Because you could beat our tails every time and go back to Blacksburg with a win. But instead, you're scared to play us because you're not guaranteed a win, and that's why you won't play us anymore. So it's sad that if they were really that good, that's what drives me crazy with the whole ACC, North Carolina, Virginia Tech, NC State mentality is, well, we're supposed to beat them anyway. Well, then beat us.
I really think it has a lot to do with the administration at the time, because they're still playing home and homes with Old Dominion and Marshall. So I think our administration had a lot to do with that. And the way it was handled with that hurricane situation at the time.
Well, they had and they wanted to get out of the schedule that Terry Holland had made, and they couldn't even keep their word. So be a man and honor your part, and don't get out of schedules, and get out of contracts, because that was ridiculous. It wasn't like the league forced you to get out of it. You could have kept your word. And look how many East Carolina. That campus is a beautiful campus at Blacksburg. How much I think about East Carolina's campus, but both fan bases travel well. That's a very easy trip for both. So it makes no sense not to have it.
Yes, I agree. We got comments.
Yeah, we can go.
Love to see that one back. A few more here. Alan Vick feeling very confident about this week. I said it last week. I'll say it again. This will be a Pirate win by double digits. Write it in crayon.
All right.
I'm going to write it. I'm going to write it in Sharpie. What about you, Matt? Are you that? Come on, Matt. Are you that bullish now? Do you think we're going to get the win? I'm going to put you on the spot now. I think Kyle is, but what do you? I'm not saying we blow them out, but I think we're going to get the win.
With this particular game, I'm very confident.
All right.
Very confident. I do. I think we should win and win convincingly. Let's say that.
All right. Boy, I tell you what, are you going to be by the pool on Saturday watching the game? Are you going to be in Charlotte? Take a quick flight down and a quick flight back?
I have, you know what? I actually have thought about it, because it's an easy flight. Charlotte, getting to Charlotte for me is like, you know, one of the easier places to travel, because I can get a direct flight from New Haven, and it's pretty cheap.
Is the game sold out?
What time is kickoff, guys?
It's 3:30. Is the game sold out?
It is, but you can still get it on secondary market, like SeatGeek, our official ticket partner. So I'm a huge SeatGeek guy.
They're an official ticket partner? I didn't know that.
Yep. That's who you trade you sell your tickets. It was StubHub, and then we 2 years ago,
Oh, East Carolina's official. I thought you meant the Sports Objective. I was about to say.
Oh no,
where's my piece of that money?
No, I would have already told you guys. I love SeatGeek. If they want to come on and broadcast and advertise and sponsor the show, then bring it on. I love SeatGeek. Did I say I like SeatGeek? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure
give
just
a shout out.
Some more comments up here really quick, guys. Just people, so many comments tonight. I hope we can get to them all. Apologize if we can't. There's just so many, hundreds of comments tonight, so we're trying to get everybody in.
Yeah, Charlotte's the next game on our schedule just for a win. Yeah, that's true. But our fans are going to freak out if we lose Charlotte. So again, you might as well embrace it for what it is. If we want to win a game so bad that we want to fire a coach if he loses it, then it's a pretty big deal that we win it. So we need to go handle business. Like I said, defense can handle the pressure. Offense, just go execute.
I'll put it to you like this, guys: is that you get that fourth win, and not to say we're only looking at 6 wins, but the path to a bowl game. I mean, I know that the second half of the schedule there are winnable games. I'm not saying that, but this Charlotte game, if you win this Charlotte game and get to the 4th win, there's a lot of different paths. I sound like a political show here to get to 270 for electoral votes. But no, seriously, the path to 6 wins is a lot easier with the Charlotte victory. I don't know you guys feel about it, but I really believe
absolutely, because we'd already have 4.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course. But if we get to 4, if we get to 4, look, if we get to 4-2 and we end up 6-6, Mike Houston might get fired. 4-2 at that point, I think your expectations need to be 7 or higher.
Right.
But to your point, yeah, let's just be practical. Let's say we do beat Charlotte, then let's say we do lose to Army. At that point, we would be 4-3 theoretically. That's just what happens. Then you have very winnable games at home the next 2 weeks against Temple and against Florida Atlantic.
Yep.
So there's 5 and 6, and then you got 3 games left the rest of the year. Tulsa, North Texas Army, or Tulsa, North Texas Navy. You to see what happens. Can we get 7, 8, or 9?
Right.
And who knows? Maybe we beat Army. You never know. But first things first, beat Charlotte.
That's right. Get some T-shirts that say "Beat Charlotte." That's what
we
Matt
don't
wants.
need to do all that. Just go win the football game, and I really wish they would have lost that game to Rice tonight. That's going to last night. That's going to give them a little.
I'm glad they won it. I'm glad they won.
I'm not, because they didn't have any confidence, and this is going to give them a little confidence. So
I think they'd be playing for more desperation if they.
I think they'd be playing scared. Now I think they're going to have a little confidence. But we're better than them. That's the bottom line. We're the better football team, so we need to go show it.
Yep. And Jeff Collins, by the way, says Charlotte is a victory. Army is a problem.
Army's playing really good football. You're
going to be with that. You're going to be at that game, right, Matt?
I'm definitely planning on going to that game. Yeah, that's only like 2 hours away. Yeah, not even.
The ferry.
It's only half a stadium this year, or 3/4 of a stadium. So I don't know how hard tickets are to get, but people might want to keep that in mind.
You can get you can get a ferry. You can get a trip on that. You stay in New York City, get a ferry trip, and the ticket for, I believe, off the top of my head, was $143. So you can get it out of New Jersey or out of New York City, and you come in there and get on the boat, go up there, come back in the 4 o'clock. I think it's the 4 o'clock hour, and so you'll be back by, how long is that?
I don't think kickoff time's been announced yet. Is it a noon kick?
Right? I think it's a noon kick.
In terms of you saying how long is the ride up the Hudson River from New York City?
It's noon kick.
I think it's like an hour and a half, honestly.
Okay.
It's a pretty good ride, but it's an awesome ride. It's a good ride. If the weather's good, fall day, I think people will enjoy that. Tailgate right on the boat, I think it'll be a good time.
So what do you guys think about this? One of our new colleagues, Christian Bateman, appreciate him helping out behind the scenes for us. He said that Jake Garcia called it 10-2 ECU. So what are the chances we get double-digit wins for the regular season, guys? Very, very slim, right?
I'll take it. Hey,
I'll take it.
When did Jake say that? Because Jake needs to start If Jake wants to go 10-2, then he needs to play like he did in the third quarter minus the interception, all
Right.
4 quarters. No,
Complete
I don't think
game.
we'll go. I don't think we'll go 10-2.
I said 7-5. I'm sticking with that.
I'm saying 7-5. 8-4 at this point would mean, if we only lost the Army and Navy, I would say that's a pretty successful season. But look, here's the thing, and people that want to snub, I understand having higher expectations. I have higher expectations, but I'm not going to snub my nose at 7-5 because here's why. In the last 25 years, we've had exactly 9 seasons with 7 or more wins. In the last 25 years.
Yep.
So people. I think people want to pretend like we're Texas. We're not.
We're
so a 7-win season, I'm not gonna just snub my nose at it. So
especially not after you go 2-10.
Hey, right now, exactly, and right now 10-2 is still a possibility. It's still a possibility, but we're going to have to get way more consistent on. We got the defense to go 10-2. And we're going to have to get more consistent on offense.
Matt, and I want to make this point really quick, Matt, because you're a player. Brian Bailey, when Joe Dooley came back and he has the introductory press conference, or sorry, the very first like media day he had on the second Joe Dooley 2.0, he asked Coach Dooley, how many wins do you think we'll have this season? And Coach Dooley said, we're going to win all of them. And knowing that we wouldn't, but you can't say we're only going to win 15 and we're only going to win 16 because if you have that kind of mindset that you only win like 7 or 8, in basketball. So the same thing with football. I mean, I'm glad that Jake Garcia is saying 10-2.
Did he say this was this yesterday? He said
I don't know. That's what Christian. When did he say that? The Jake Garcia called it 10-2 ECU. Because if we do 10-2, guys, that's right up there. We would be playing for a conference championship, obviously, and maybe even hosting it 10-2, right? Off the top of my head.
We'd be undefeated in conference.
8-0.
Yeah.
So,
hey, look, the next game up is Charlotte. Let's get to 2-0 in conference play. 4-2 on the season. Look, I'm telling you, you beat Charlotte next week, you're 4-2 on the season. People are going to quit talking about the App State and Liberty game at that point, and be looking ahead to an off week where that's something else too. If you beat Charlotte, you go into an off week, gives you more time to get ready for Army. Who knows? But first things first, just handle business.
Oh God, here's Matt. You're gonna love this. Here's from Irving. Look at this, Matt. He says, if we lose to Charlotte, I'll wear a tank top to every home game for the rest of the season, no matter the temperature in November. That's Matt Simmons. That sounds like Matt Simmons. Thank you, Irving. That you made me laugh on that.
I wish I was that confident. I think we're going to win, but I'm not that confident at all.
Irving will dress like Biff Poggi.
Oh yeah,
Biff Poggi.
How about Kyle will wear a cutoff T-shirt if we lose to Charlotte for the rest of the season?
Yeah, no, I'm not. I have no. I have no confidence to bet anything like that. I have confidence in our defense, but I'm not confident to wager anything like that. But I just got to beat Charlotte.
Guys, Grimesland Bigfoot, look at this real quick. I just want to get y'all's take on it. And Miss Bubba, this is Bubba stuff. And Pro Football Focus says that we have a 76% chance to make a bowl game and 6% chance to win the AAC. So what are your thoughts on that?
I agree. Know what Pro Football Focus knows about anything. Is this updated as of today? I mean, is this something that they update regularly?
I have no idea.
I would say a higher chance than that of making a bowl game. We're halfway there now. So at this point, if we didn't make a bowl game, it would be a complete disaster.
Yep.
So I would think that probably changes every week. So I would, if we beat Charlotte next week, I bet that goes up to like a 80-some% chance of making a bowl game.
Yep.
And I think our conference championship, that's too low at 6%. I would
like
put
20?
Yeah, I'd say 20%.
Something like that.
Because if you look, we don't play Tulane, we don't play Memphis, we don't play South Florida. So your two biggest challenges are Army and Navy, and North Texas is pretty good too. But if this offense can get it together and be consistent, there's nobody on our schedule we can't beat. as it is right now, I think we'll beat the bad teams and lose to the good teams.
Yeah, and
there's top 6 to win. He says the AAC are Tulane 1, North Texas 2, Navy 3, Army 4, Memphis 5, and ECU 6. And I put my hot take in the middle.
Interesting that they have North Texas at 2. That I do not agree with. I think North Texas is a good football team, but I would not put them at 2. No way.
And
here's the thing too, guys, really quick. Let me just jump in on that because one of the things, our coaches talk a lot about is how, they've had experiences where right around the 4th or 5th game of the season, it all kind of clicks and the team starts playing better. And it can still click for this offense. Like, we should get better. Theoretically, we should get better every week. It's another week in the system. We have a bye week coming up. We should get better every week. Now, I just don't think it's happened yet. I really don't. But it can happen. And if the offense can continue to get better, then I would definitely feel much more optimistic. Right now, I have it just like Kyle. I'll say 7-5. My only thought on 7-5 is I would be very disappointed from the standpoint that year 6 for Mike Houston, we should be, in my opinion, winning more games than 7. But that's that's what I would say about that.
No, I agree with that.
Christian Bateman said it at the post-game presser last night. He said we have what it takes to be 10-2 after playing at Mizzou. He knows what 10-2 looks like. He says we have what we need. Just got to get the wrinkles out.
Well, then play like it. Play like it, then, Jake. Play like it, then. For 4 quarters. Here's something. This will be my last thought, and I'm gonna wrap my portion up here. Despite all the offensive woes, despite not having a running game, despite not completing a pass in the 4th quarter, we scored 30 points last night.
Yep.
We took advantage of red zone opportunities. We had 1 touchdown on a red zone drive. We kicked 3 field goals, and we hit 2 big plays for touchdowns. None of the touchdowns were scored by defense, despite all the turnovers they forced. So that aspect is good. So just think if we can bottle what we did at the end of the 2nd quarter and for most of the 3rd quarter into 4 quarters. One of these games we're going to do that. And maybe it'll be this week. Maybe it'll be this week against Charlotte. That this would be a perfect time for it.
Well, Matt, I know you have a tough situation here with the Charlotte game. But you love both teams. So, I mean, are you rooting for ECU? You rooting for Charlotte? I mean, what are you doing here for UNCC? You're gonna have a UNCC T-shirt or like a house divided, or what are you gonna do?
No, man. I'm ECU all the way, man.
I know. I'm sarcastic.
But if we were to lose, I might have to start wearing a Charlotte T-shirt around.
Oh my!
That? Just kidding. That would never happen. That would never happen.
You remember like Beavis and Butthead where the kid Stewart was wearing that winger T-shirt? Oh my gosh! Like I wouldn't be called dead in a winger T-shirt. But anyway, that's an '80s reference. But anyway, you guys, you're feeling good. I know there are a lot of people feel confident about the team. Do you guys, before we get out of here, do you guys have a quick wrap up of a game or two you want to talk about? I know we've gone really long tonight, but across college football, that maybe one game that you didn't expect to see.
That I didn't expect to see. Well, I knew the schedule yesterday. You mean in terms of upsets?
Like upsets or
Louisiana had a nice win over Wake Forest. Can't say it surprised me. It was a nice win. Western Kentucky should have beaten Boston College. Obviously, Alabama, Georgia was a classic.
Great game.
What else stuck out to me yesterday?
Kentucky, Ole Miss.
Kentucky, Ole Miss. Very nice win by Kentucky over Ole Miss. There was another Matt. What about you? Because there's another upset I'm trying to think of. So Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Kentucky's defense is tough. I mean, they held Georgia down a few weeks ago, and they did a great job against Ole Miss, high-powered offense. That defense is legit. Another team, I'll tell you, you guys are going to laugh at this one, right? But I always try to tell it like it is. I was very impressed with Colorado.
Oh, Colorado, okay.
Colorado Coach Prime, man, he got it done yesterday. He went into UCF and they put a beat down on UCF.
We know how you
So that
love
was a pretty
Dion.
impressive game.
Yeah, you're being objective there.
I'm being objective, man.
Hey, I got one for Pirate Nation if they didn't notice it yesterday. Bowling Green had almost upset Pittsburgh, and then they almost upset Texas A&M. They lost by 7 and 6 to each. And Old Dominion went into Bowling Green yesterday and beat them 30-27. That's a football team we beat earlier this year, so it makes that win look a little better after they got a nice road win over Bowling Green. So I don't know how many people noticed that score, but ODU beat a what had been a Old Dominion, a Bowling Green team that had played a tough schedule and played it well and was favored to beat ODU. And ODU went on the road yesterday and got that win. So
Sure
team
did.
to
I mean,
beat.
Bowling Green almost won in Happy Valley 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we
meant Penn State. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
then they go
and then
down
almost
to
beat
Texas
Texas A&M. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, we were
So-
talking about that. Remember the group text when that game was going on? I looked at the screen a few times watching that. I was like, wait a minute, is that really the right score for the Bowling Green Penn State game?
So nice win by Old Dominion. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much all I got, guys. This is Charlotte game week, so everybody's gonna be fired up for that. We need to go to Charlotte and get a W. Glad to beat UTSA. Glad to be 3-2, and hopefully we'll be back here next week talking about 2 wins in a row. And keep in mind, guys, of all games, 3:30 kickoff on ESPNU. This is not on ESPN Plus. This is an ESPNU game. So
another reason to show out.
Linear TV coverage, exactly. So
and Matt's gonna be by the pool. You're gonna be a pirate with rum and coke. I take it.
I'll definitely have the rum and coke. The pool, it's getting a little.
Yeah,
I might actually close the pool this weekend. It's getting a little cold up here, but if at all possible, I'll have the pool heated and ready to go. Yeah, absolutely.
You'll do a polar bear challenge. Early polar bear
polar
challenge.
plunge.
Polar plunge. That's it. Yeah, sorry, polar plunge. All right. Well, guys, thanks to Bubba. And by the way, again, it was amazing how many comments, questions. Thank you so much. We've got so many people, and we had a question about. We'll take care of the technical glitch. We're working on that for people asking about podcast form. We're going to take care of that. So bear with us. I know there's a lot of us that like commute and we love to listen to podcasts, this being one of them. So we appreciate you very much for your patience on that. All right, we'll get out of here. Pirates win again, 30-20. Great victory at home. And on the road at Charlotte, we'll have our Pirate preview this week for Matt and Kyle. And Bubba, I'm Dave Richmond for the Pirate Playback here on the Sports Objective. Good night, everybody, and as always, go Pirates.
You're watching the Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.